The premise of the title is a trap. It implies there is a single magical sentence, a magic phrase, that a woman says, and it acts as a universal code for sexual consent or decision. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of human psychology, interaction, and intimacy. There is no magic phrase. What does exist is a magic shift. It is a distinct, observable change in the category of her language. It's a transition from guarded, public, and polite conversation to a mode of communication that is private, vulnerable, and collaborative. This shift doesn't happen by accident. It is the end result of a rapid, often subconscious, psychological evaluation. She has assessed the situation, assessed you, and her brain has moved you from the category of stranger or acquaintance to the category of safe or potential intimate. When this shift occurs, her language changes. The decision to become physically intimate is almost always preceded by the decision to become psychologically intimate, and she signals that psychological decision with her words. The single most powerful indicator in this category is unprompted, deep self-disclosure. To understand why this is so critical, you must understand the psychology of vulnerability. For most people, and especially in the context of a new interaction, vulnerability is a risk. Opening up about fears, true opinions, past traumas, or deep-seated family issues is not done lightly. It is a social currency that is spent with extreme care. We are biologically wired to protect ourselves. We present a social mask, a curated, safe, and strong version of ourselves to the world. This is the version that engages in small talk, discusses work, or shares opinions about movies. When a woman voluntarily, and without being prompted or manipulated, decides to remove that mask and show you what is behind it, she is making a profound statement. She is saying, "I trust you not to hurt me with this information. I believe you are safe. I am willing to risk rejection or judgment to build a deeper connection with you." Physical intimacy is the ultimate act of physical vulnerability. It is almost impossible for a woman to be willing to be physically vulnerable with a man she does not first feel psychologically safe with. This verbal vulnerability is the test run. So what does this sound like? It is not, "I had a busy day at work." It is not, "I like Italian food." It sounds like this. I've actually never told anyone this, but one of my biggest fears is, I'm really close to my family, but I've always felt like the black sheep because, to be honest, I've been feeling really lost in my career lately. It feels like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. My last relationship ended very badly. It's taken me a long time to trust anyone again. These are not lines, they are windows. When she opens one, she is inviting you in. The mistake most men make is to either ignore the statement, make a joke, or worse, pivot the conversation back to something superficial. They fail to recognize the significance of the moment. The decision has been made not to sleep with you, but to trust you, and trust is the gateway to everything that follows. This is different from casual oversharing or trauma dumping. The context is critical. This isn't a therapy session. It's a revelation embedded within a normal, flowing conversation. It will often be followed by a slight pause as she subconsciously waits to see how you will react. Will you validate her? Will you listen? Or will you break that trust? It's also crucial to distinguish this from simple complaining. Complaining is external. My boss is a jerk. The traffic was awful. Vulnerability is internal. It makes me feel like a failure when my boss criticizes me. Being stuck in traffic gives me anxiety because it's the sharing of the internal emotional state, not just the external fact. When you hear this type of language, you must understand that the interaction has fundamentally changed. The social shields are down. She has verbally escalated the intimacy level. This is the this. It's not a simple phrase. It's the act of offering her most protected self to you through words. If you handle this moment correctly, by listening, validating, and perhaps sharing a small, reciprocal vulnerability of your own, you have confirmed her hypothesis that you are, in fact, safe. From this point, the path to physical intimacy is no longer about convincing or persuasion. It is simply about logistics. The psychological decision has already been made. She has decided to let you in, and her language was the key she used to unlock the door. Once a woman has made the decision to trust you, once she has offered that initial deep self-disclosure, and you have successfully received it, the very architecture of the conversation changes. The initial interview is over. The vulnerability test has been passed. Now a new linguistic phase begins. This is where her brain shifts from assessment to experience. She begins, often subconsciously, to build a shared reality with you. The key signal you are listening for here is not just what she says, but the pronouns she uses to say it. The single most important shift is the transition from I and you to we. This is known as future pacing. Future pacing is a linguistic concept where a person speaks about a future event as if it is already agreed upon or certain to happen. In a normal conversation, this is simply planning. But in the context of escalating intimacy, it is a profound psychological indicator. When a woman is in a guarded, analytical state, her language is separatist. I like that band. You seem to know a lot about that. I might go to that new bar on Friday. This language maintains a clear, safe boundary. There is I, and there is you. We are two separate entities. When she has made the psychological shift and is now comfortable with the idea of intimacy, her language will begin to merge these two entities. She will start building a linguistic bridge between her world and yours. It sounds like this. We should go to that new bar on Friday. We would have so much fun at that concert. We have to try that restaurant I was talking about. This we is not a casual suggestion. It is a mental trial run. She is, in her mind, fast-forwarding time and picturing the experience of being with you in a future scenario. She is testing out the idea of you and I as a single unit. The fact that she is verbalizing this is the key. People do not invest cognitive resources in planning a future, even a hypothetical one, with someone they are not fundamentally comfortable with or attracted to. By saying we, she is co-authoring a potential timeline. There are levels to this. It can be subtle. It might not even use the word we. It can sound like, oh, you've never tried real, specific type of food? You have to let me take you to my favorite place. They'd love you there. Let's break that down. You have to let me. This is a soft command, a form of assertive planning. Take you. This implies a future, one-on-one event. They'd love you there. This is visualization. She is placing you into her world, into her favorite place, and imagining you fitting in successfully. Or it can be a callback. Remember you said you liked bourbon? There's this place I know that has the best old-fashioned. Next time, I'll show you. Next time. That phrase is a powerful psychological commitment. It casually and confidently assumes a future interaction. It bypasses the entire question of, will I see you again? And skips directly to, when I see you again, this is what we will do. This is not a test. It is a symptom of a decision that has already been made. The decision is that she wants to see you again, that she is comfortable creating new experiences with you. When a woman begins to future pace with you, she is investing. And in psychology, investment is a powerful predictor of action. We as humans are driven to act in accordance with our investments. If she invests her time, her vulnerability, and now her future mental planning into you, she is creating a cognitive loop that biases her toward more investment, including physical intimacy. This language, we, next time, we should, is the verbal evidence that she has mentally accepted your presence in her immediate future. She is no longer just in the moment with you. She is actively building the next moment with you. She is moving the interaction from a static, present-tense encounter to a dynamic, future-tense, shared narrative. Physical intimacy is, by its very nature, a we activity. It is the most profound shared narrative. The verbal we is the direct precursor. It is the dress rehearsal. When you hear her start to co-author this immediate future with you, you are not hearing a suggestion for a date. You are hearing the sound of her mind confirming its own decision to proceed. This progression is logical. First comes psychological safety, which is demonstrated by deep self-disclosure. Second comes shared experience, which is signaled by future pacing and the use of we. The third and final linguistic phase before the decision becomes action is about investment and compliance. This is where the dynamic subtly inverts. Having established a baseline of trust and a shared future narrative, the woman's subconscious will now seek to confirm her decision. It does this by observing two things: your consistency and her own willingness to participate in the escalation. This is the investment loop. The more she invests, the more comfortable she feels with her investment. The more she says yes to small, non-physical requests, the more congruent her brain becomes with saying yes to a larger physical one. This is often misunderstood. Men are taught to look for tests, which they interpret as challenges or barriers. But the real linguistic signals at this stage are not tests. They are opportunities for congruence. She isn't testing you, she is testing the interaction. She is checking if her feelings of comfort and safety are stable. Her language will now shift to two modes: verbal compliance and conversational investment. Let's start with verbal compliance. This is not about her blindly agreeing to everything. It is about her actively and enthusiastically accepting your conversational leads and logistical suggestions. At the beginning of the interaction, her compliance was likely polite but non-committal. If you said, "It's loud in here," she might have said, "Yeah, it is." If you said, "This bar is pretty cool," she might have said, "It's nice." The responses are passive. They acknowledge, but they do not build. Once her psychological decision has shifted, this compliance becomes active. She will not just agree with your lead, she will add to it. You, "It's getting really loud in here." Her, "It is. My apartment is right around the corner. It's so much quieter there." She didn't just agree. She identified the problem, noise, and then proactively offered a solution that also escalates the logistics. You, "This was fun. We should do this again sometime." Her, "I'd love that. What are you doing tomorrow? I'm free after 8. She not only agreed, "I'd love that." She bypassed the vague sometime and immediately offered a specific actionable when. She is actively investing in the logistics. This removes all ambiguity. This active compliance is her brain's way of saying yes and to the interaction. Each time she does this, she is strengthening her own cognitive consistency. Her actions, making plans, suggesting a move, are aligning with her internal feeling, trust, attraction. This leads to the second, more powerful indicator: conversational investment. Up to this point, you have likely been leading the interaction. You've been asking the questions, creating the comfort, and receiving her self-disclosures. Now the roles will reverse. When she is truly comfortable and has decided to proceed, she will begin to invest in you. She will want to know why she feels safe with you. She will start to retroactively justify her own feelings of attraction by actively seeking to know you on a deeper level. Her questions will stop being superficial and start being deep and personal. She will move from, "So, what do you do for work?" to, "What makes you passionate about what you do? Did you always want to be that?" She will move from, "Where are you from?" to, "What was it like growing up there? Are you close with your family?" She is now doing to you what you initially did for her, opening the window for vulnerability. She is actively probing for your depth, your character. This is the final checkpoint. She feels a connection, and now she is building out the reasons for that connection. This is critical. She is no longer a passive participant in the conversation. She is an active co-creator. This reciprocity is the final lock. When she is asking you deep, personal questions after she has already revealed things about herself, and after she has begun future pacing with we, the loop is complete. She felt safe enough to be vulnerable. She felt comfortable enough to imagine a future. She is now invested enough to want to understand you deeply. This combination of linguistic signals is not a maybe. It is the verbal manifestation of a psychological decision being finalized. She is no longer asking herself if she should. She is now gathering the data to confirm why she was right to. At this point, the conversation is no longer about attraction. It is about connection, and she is verbally signaling that, from her perspective, that connection has been successfully established. The "this" that she says is not a single line. It is this sequence. It is the entire dialogue, progressing from I to we, from guarded to vulnerable, and from passive acceptance to active investment. This brings us to the final and most overt linguistic phase. The psychological decision-making is complete. Trust has been established through vulnerability. Investment has been made through future pacing. Congruence has been confirmed through active compliance and reciprocity. The entire interaction has now shifted from if to how. Her brain is no longer occupied with the question, do I want to be intimate with this person? It is now solving the problem. How do I make this intimacy happen logistically and safely? The language you will hear now is the language of logistics and confirmation. This is the least subtle, yet often, the most misunderstood phase. Men are still looking for emotional cues when the woman has already moved on to practical planning. Her language becomes direct, goal-oriented, and solution-focused. She is literally, with her words, removing any final barriers that stand between the present moment and the intimate outcome she has decided upon. This sounds like, my roommate is out of town for the weekend. I don't have to be up for work early tomorrow. My place is just a few blocks from here. Are you parked nearby? My car is in the garage right across the street. These are not random pieces of information. They are verbalized solutions to unasked questions. My roommate is out solves the privacy problem. I don't have work solves the time problem. My place is close solves the location problem. She is collaboratively co-signing the escalation. She is moving from a passive participant to an active partner in the logistics. Sometimes this is even more direct. It's not just removing barriers, it's proactive problem solving. If you present a logistical hurdle, she will be the one to solve it. I'd invite you back to my place, but it's a 30-minute drive. Her, pre-decision. Oh yeah, that's far. The interaction dies. Her, post-decision. That's fine, I don't mind the drive. We can take my car. Problem solved. It's probably time to call it a night. A soft test of her intent. Her, post-decision. Already? The night is still young. Let's go for one more drink at that quiet place I know. Rejects the end and provides a new where. At this stage, she is on your team. She is actively working with you to make the transition to a private setting as seamless and friction-free as possible. Finally, after the logistics are being handled, you will often get the last and most important signal, the verbal confirmation. This is the closest thing to a magic phrase, but it's not a signal of desire, it's a statement of fact. She will verbally state the conclusion of her entire psychological assessment. She will give a name to the feeling she has. It sounds like this. I just have to say, I feel incredibly comfortable with you. This has been easy. I haven't felt this relaxed with someone in a very, very long time. You're very easy to talk to. I feel like I've known you for a while. This is the verbal green light. It is her conscious mind signing off on the decision her subconscious mind has already made. She is telling you in no uncertain terms, I trust you. My assessment is complete. You are safe. This is often the final word said before the location changes. It is the psychological seal on the decision. So, if she says this, she's already decided. What is this? This is not a word. It is not a sentence. This is a sequence. It is the entire unbroken linguistic journey from a guarded state to an open one. It is the sound of vulnerability replacing polite small talk. It is the sound of we replacing I and you. It is the sound of her active investment replacing your passive pursuit. And it is the sound of her proactively solving logistics replacing passive compliance. The phrase itself doesn't matter. What matters is the progression. What matters is that you are hearing the language of a woman who has moved from assessment to trust, from trust to investment, and from investment to active logistical collaboration. Her words are simply the footprints left behind by a decision that has already been made.